I just sort of wonder what this is going to be.
On this episode of Showtime, the mystery project is revealed. What did we create out of some sawdust board, a polyester blanket, and epoxy resin?
We've been in rougher waters than these!
Hold on, stop.
Doesn't get better. So what is it that we're doing today? Realistically, we stopped working on the outboard because there were predictions of bad weather, and I'm not playing outside with an engine during thunder and lightning. I'm just not going to do it. So we decided to shift gears a little bit and continue to work on what we like the most, boats, and upgrade Motion Granted a little bit more.
Well, of course I'm not going to tell you just yet. That's what the reveal is for. The reveal is the portion of the show where everything comes together and you finally find out what happened. I'm not going to reveal what we're making now, so let's just start at the beginning, with the base. When we build something custom, we like to work with materials that conform to our design plan. Materials that can jig and amble.
This makes me happy. Just that little artistic freedom, dude, and I'm like ready to smile.
Materials like pressed wood.
So one of the things that we're not going to do is the same old boring symmetrical designs. We're going to put a little art into
The reason we're different here at Short Time is because we do stuff like this.
The challenge was not in the scale. Each half was only 20 inches long by 10 inches wide by about 8 inches high. The challenge was to create the asymmetrical shapes we wanted. That's why the base was basically made of sawdust wood, dowels, and thin sheet wood for a backing. But to fully get the shape we needed, we had to use a blanket.
If you're wondering what's going on, we may have just changed Mike's name from Grumpy Mike to Mike.
I suppose the most obvious question is, you've got to be kidding me with that blanket, right? Let's think about that for a minute. There are three kinds of fiberglass resin: polyester, vinyl ester, and epoxy resin. Epoxy resin is the best bonding. It'll stick to anything and harden to make a solid structure. And that blanket is made of 100% polyester. In other words, I'm using a $15 Walmart blanket made of 100% polyester instead of $100 worth of fiberglass chop strand cloth. Is the cloth better? Yep. Is it stronger? Yep. but that $15 polyester blanket will be more than strong enough for what we're making.
Plaid for style. Have you figured it out yet?
Enter the epoxy resin. In order for that blanket to actually turn into something, we're going to have to use epoxy resin. The epoxy will turn a soft blanket into a hard surface that can support weight and has structure. In a marine application, epoxy resin has two parts. The resin itself, of course, and a hardener. Once you mix that hardener, you've got a time limit of about 15 minutes to apply it. Naturally, you have to apply it in the right ratio as well. Not enough hardener will take days for it to work. Too much will limit your time to work on the project. Additionally, you have to soak the blanket all the way through. If you don't, your blanket's going to be limp. And there's no vessel I know of who likes anything limp. After all, boats are named after... yeah. Moving on. Of course, to get a clean, smooth, and paintable surface, you need a little putty. We chose to use Carbondo because it's cheap, but you can use anything really, because even though this is a short-time custom project, we still want it to look professional.
It's just really hard to believe that it's a blanket. It's really incredible. But that's exactly what it is. It's a blanket.
So we're getting ready to install this scan strut piece. It allows us to bring a wire in vertically so water doesn't sit and go in. Our wire will be coming here and then it will come up into this and run on up the pipe. And this will seal it so that no water gets down in the hole, gets into the hull of the boat.
Got it. All right, we're out.
That's right. It's time for installation. And there are a few considerations for that, not the least of which is how to attach it to the boat in a way that's both secure and protects the boat. Further, I wanted to make sure I could take it down every season when I took off the bimini top. That means there had to be a certain amount of mobility in how we attach it and how it's structured. Of course, the other part of that is exactly how to wire it. There really are a limited number of possibilities, whether to wire in parallel or series, how to get the most power out of it.
These are both right speakers. It's a right front and a right rear, not a right and left. So I only need to break 2 wires out of my harness here.
Okay.
And hook up these 2 speakers. Right. And then the other 2 can just keep running and go to the other speaker. Right. I don't have to go in and out.
Right, yeah.
I was being an idiot. I was thinking left, right, left, right.
So we're running it all in series, in other words.
No, we're not. I can change all of that by how I wire it down here at
the
gotcha.
Amplifier. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
If by now you hadn't figured out what we're doing, you should probably watch a cooking show. We went from 4 JL Audio speakers to 8 by taking a blanket, some fiberglass, and a little bit of wood and putting it together.
I can't really demonstrate in this episode exactly how loud 8 JL Audio speakers really are, but it suffices to say that this project and this episode are ending on a high note. Like, subscribe, and get notified, please.